Hello investors, this is Just Randy Stocks here, and we are about to talk about Proterra and the recall process. I noticed that there was a few recalls early in this year, and I want to talk to you about those, and should you be concerned that the company has quality issues. For those of you new to the channel, I'm a proud prior Army service veteran of 9 years who specialized in supply chain management. I'm also an ex-corporate auditor and was focused on global business risk and process improvement. If you're tired of buying stocks at premium prices, go ahead and join the family. You know I have to ask you to hit that subscribe button so that way you can get notified as soon as a video comes out, and like the video. Hitting that like button helps out the algorithm. Now that we have that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. So let's start off by looking at ACTC stock price, and you can see here at open at about 10:05 a.m. it dipped down to 14.84 and then started to climb back up, where it's starting to go up a little bit after hours, about 6%, which is good. Now, in this channel, I have always said that I believe in the $14 range and below is buy. So I would consider adding to my position or averaging down within this range. So in this video, I wanted to talk about recalls, and should you be concerned as an investor if there is a recall for a company that you're invested in. So you can see here it says Proterra is recalling certain 2019 to 2020 Catalyst 40-foot buses. A software defect in the body controller that operates the door motor may allow the rear door to open unexpectedly. And you can see below here there is a view for the full recall details at NHTSA.gov. And if you click on NHTSA.gov, this is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and this is part of the federal government under the United States Department of Transportation, and they handle all the safety issues and recalls. So someone within operation of the buses will either reach out to NHTSA themselves, or they'll reach out to the manufacturer, and then this will cause an investigation. So NHTSA will say that we need some additional information, and sometimes the manufacturer is forthcoming with their information, and sometimes they're not. Then NHTSA determines if there's a safety-related defect, and they will recall the vehicle, or the manufacturer will step in and say, no, don't worry about it, we will do that. So are safety issues and recalls common? And you can see from this sheet in 2020, there's 886 recalls that impacted 54 million people. So these are common. And I just wanted to go through the process with you on what type of notices and documentation, and what should you look for in this associated documentation if you wanted to. So first off, there's going to be a defect notice 573 report, recall acknowledgement. So the manufacturer is basically saying, yes, we agree. There would be remedy instructions or a bulletin that goes out to correct the problem, and then the owner would get a notification letter. So let's just take a look at those documents really quick. And the first safety recall report from February 1st of this year involved a total population of 21 vehicles, and 34% is the estimated percentage with the defect. So right now the population doesn't seem high. We know that Proterra manufactures 1,000 buses a year, so 21 of those 1,000, and then 34%, it's not even that total population of 21. This is the 40-foot bus, and just remember that number because that's going to come up again when we look at the next service bulletin. And then look at the descriptive information. The front fender flare design on certain buses may result in splash of mud and dirt to driver's side window and mirror in the snow and rain. A retrofit kit is available. So you can see the production dates here are from July 21st, 2020 to January 25th of 2021. So basically what it's saying is dirt, mud, debris, snow, rain, this is the safety risk. Proterra has not received any reports of accidents resulting from this concern. There are no reported crashes or injuries. So this safety description portion is going to be important, because with the risk of what happened with Peloton and the child incident, you know that any kind of injury or death can really cause the stock price to go down. So with Peloton and the child death that happened with that machine, that really gave them a huge loss. So something to be aware of. And then also with Tesla, they had a vehicle that didn't have the appropriate software in it for self-driving, and nobody was in the driver's seat supposedly, and that resulted in a death. They got some negative PR. You've seen it, a drop in their price. So this does have an impact when it does result in injury or death. In this case, I would say this is minor. And you can scroll down a little further just to see how responsive the business was. And here it shows that customer service was notified, and then the steering committee met and approved a service campaign to be issued. Then Proterra received the customer reports from 5 other transit bus customers indicating similar visibility concerns. So, this was something that they were like, all right, it's not getting better. And then the steering committee convened an emergency meeting, and it looks like they may have caught this in time. So it looks like, and sometimes NHTSA is the one driving this and not the company. So they covered some remediation actions, and we'll take a look at the rest of the documentation. So the next one would be a memo that describes, is the business confirming that we agree with all of the issues here. And then the next thing would be the service bulletin. And you can see here it says anti-spray front fender retrofit. So the service bulletin on the recall is sent out. And when you scroll down to the bottom of this, it will show you that you can see for yourself, is this attachment that's happening on here, is it a real big issue? So you can see it's an extension of the fender, this flare here, fender flare. So I would say this is minor. And then lastly, like I was talking about previously, there is a notice that goes out to the individual owners. You may have gotten one of these in the mail for your own personal vehicle. So the last thing I wanted to cover, the last service announcement, is the one that was April 19th, the most recent one that involved 25 vehicles, 100% of that population. And here you could see it says that it was on the same bus size. On certain buses, the body controller that controls the bus door motor function may have a software defect or incorrect software. So certain buses that have body controller software that controls the bus door motor function, which may have a software defect, incorrect software, this could result in the bus's rear door opening unexpectedly if a passenger makes an open request within 200 milliseconds after the rear door closes and the door authorization light extinguishes while the bus is in motion at a speed of below 10 kilometers per hour or 6 miles per hour. So is this a big deal? Remember, I'd like you to take a look at the safety risk if you ever see one of these. And you may be asking yourself, how fast is 200 milliseconds? And that's the blink of an eye, pretty much. So this may increase the risk of the rear door opening under unique conditions. Proterra has received 1 report of injury and no death reports associated with this defect. So not something to turn a blind eye at. And, once again, you could take a look at the events. It looks like they also had a steering committee meeting to get this fixed. And I do like the fact that it says Proterra customer service immediately sent a field representative to inspect the 2 affected buses to determine the root cause of the issue. It does look like the supplier was a portion of the reason why this was an issue, because they asked for additional information. So they have some remediation of getting, Proterra will provide a new software release to fix the issue. But I also ultimately am asking myself at the end of this, are these major issues that I see moving the stock price in a negative direction? Do we have safety or quality issues with Proterra? And my answer would be no. Additional reasons why I believe that there's strong safety practices. I've watched all the videos and understand exactly what they're doing with the batteries. I think some other aspects of the bus, they may be able to take a closer, more detailed look from an engineering and quality perspective and proactively get, as they're ramping up production, proactively get information or feedback from the drivers. Send teams out to the field to ask questions and try and address this stuff proactively. But here I wanted to show you that they do have two certifications, and the first one is their quality management systems, or their QMS. So they were certified last year in 2020, and it's not coming due until 2023. The only thing about this is it doesn't show you any minor or major, like the report just shows it's just a certificate. It doesn't show me what the feedback was from the inspection that they did. So just because they have a certification doesn't mean there wasn't findings. So there may have been some things that they needed to correct within their QMS system, but they are having this done, and it was done on both manufacturing sites. So they've got one in California and one in South Carolina, and hopefully they'll get another location. I think this company is going to need a third one based on the type of growth potential that I believe that's going to happen with them. And the last one is their EMS, or their environmental management system. So they also have a certification here. It looks like it was done around the same time, 2020, and is due around 2023. So my last note that I'd close with is, if you really want to sign up for Safety Recall Advocates or something like this, you could see on their website they posted Proterra, and then the number associated and date is recalling certain vehicles. These vehicles, it might give you an advantage over other investors on price targets, movements, things that could potentially impact. And then, click on the link and, take a closer look at what's happening with that issue, and use that number that's associated to be able to navigate to the issue and look at those documents that I was telling you about. I hope you enjoyed this video, and leave me a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.